Good morning, North Schuylkill. I'm Doug Wiest.
And I'm Haley Bird.
Now that the weather's gotten a bit frosty, you may be waiting for a delay with every flake that falls. But there's a lot that goes into the decision before Mr. Andrukavich sends out that classic, "Please be advised" call. So before you waste any more time refreshing the WNEP school closings page, check out this segment where Dr. Ackle explains the process necessary for determining when North Schuylkill students spend a little more time at home.
Hi, I'm Dan Tomtitian here with Dr. Ackle.
Hi, Dan.
Hi. Can you describe the process that goes into school delays and closings?
Sure. Each storm or each weather event is different. When we follow the weather forecast closely, I followed stuff from the National Weather Service, local meteorologist. I get a couple updates through an app, through the county website. So I take all those reports into consideration to just monitor what's going on. Obviously, it's what occurs outside, not all the reports, because sometimes the reports aren't accurate. But what happens is the administrative team will be communicating, usually through text messages, the night before or the morning of, and I'll get reports. We are such a large land area as a school district that we get reports from different areas. What's happening in Frackville might not be the same as in Ashland, or whatever's happening in Locust Dale might not be the same in Ringtown. So we try to cover the whole area, and if it's a normal storm that's supposed to start, say 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, what will happen is I will wake up at 2 or 3 and I will monitor what's going on outside. Sometimes I will get in my vehicle and I will drive around the district. I do stay in very close contact with Miss Libby Horn. She is the person who is in charge of the busing for us, because she does have a say as well. I like to talk to her and get her opinion, and she talks to some of her drivers that travel a distance. And once I get all that information, then I decide if we need a delay in the morning. And the reason we put a delay out is to make sure, one, to make sure the roads are safe, but two, when the sun rises, it warms up a little bit. The sun also gives the drivers daylight, because it's a lot easier to drive in the daylight than in the dark. So if we need a delay to make sure it's safe to get the students into school, we'll call a 2-hour delay. We'll never call a 1 hour or 3 hour. We always go with a 2-hour delay. If the forecast is predicting a longer storm or more intense storm, obviously we'll skip the delay and go to a closing. If the weather is calling for it overnight and we know it's adamant, it's going to happen, I do like to make the decision the night before. Not only allows students to sleep in, but it allows parents that have to worry about childcare to get their plans up and rolling. Because I could imagine the stress that it will put on a parent if we close school at 5:30 in the morning and then they have to make plans or cancel work or call off work to watch their children. So it's a whole process. And we really like to get everybody involved as much as possible. Once the decision is made, we like to get it out to the faculty, staff, and students as soon as possible through the ConnectEd call. Then it goes on Twitter and Facebook. We put it on 2 news stations, on WNEP and WBRE, and then we also put it on T102 to make sure we get the word out there.
So how do other districts impact your decision as well?
Great question. For the most part, other districts don't really impact the decision at all. However, there are 12 county school districts, and all 12 county school districts go to the same VOTEC and the same IU. And when half of the county school districts decide to delay or to cancel, then the IU or the VOTEC will delay or cancel. So that's one thing that's the only thing that I take into account, is if there are 6 other school districts that delayed or canceled, well, now the VOTEC will be on a 2-hour delay schedule or a cancellation schedule, and we really like to keep our VOTEC students on the same schedule. So that may play impact, but it doesn't matter if Pottsville or Shenandoah or Monterey area, it doesn't matter really what they do. I stay in contact with superintendents throughout the whole process, because we do like to be on the same page, but their decision really does not influence me too much.
Okay, so who in administration does have the final decision?
I ultimately have the final decision, but again, it's a team effort. Mr. Brayford is up driving around in the morning. Miss Grudy is up doing some stuff. I call Mr. Amos. Like I said, transportation. I get everybody's input and use that to. I do have the final say, but it's a team effort.
Okay, so obviously at North Schuylkill as a superintendent, you want us to have school as much as possible, but would you rather prefer a 2-hour delay or an early dismissal?
Great question. Neither.
Neither.
But I think the best case scenario is I love early dismissals.
Me too. Me too. That's my favorite.
I enjoy coming in, getting credit for the full day, and then going home. The 2-hour delay one, it's stressful because I have to get up in the morning. I have to monitor it. If it's a 2-hour delay, there's possibility then closing. I do enjoy getting in here, getting the day rolling, and if the storm's coming in the afternoon, get everybody home safely. So if I had to pick, definitely an early dismissal.
Okay. And what are some makeup days built into our schedule for snow days?
Over the last few years, the only snow makeup days we had were the 3 days over the Easter holiday. But this year we added 2 more days if we need them, one in February and one in January. January would be Martin Luther King Day, and February would be President's Day. So we actually have 5 days this year built in to the calendar if needed. And then obviously if we need to at the end of the year, we tack on extra days as well.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Dan.
Once snow and ice hit the ground, the school needs to make sure that everything is safe for travel. Parking lots need to be cleared, slippery surfaces need to be salted, and the maintenance crew is responsible for making sure that happens. A group of maintenance workers are busy year-round, but we often see the result of their winter work a little more clearly. We know that George is everyone's favorite, but we'll settle for some answers from Zach Wiest.
I'm Audrey Mastician here with Mr. Wiest, the maintenance guy. How does winter weather affect the role of the maintenance staff?
It affects us actually a lot because you'll see a lot less of us inside and a lot more of us outside. The 5 of us that are usually here, you usually see 1 guy taking over the role of more guys inside and the 4 of us outside. Basically that's about it. It's more outside work than inside work. A lot of the winter projects will get put on hold until winter break or something of that sort, and especially if we get a lot of snow, a lot earlier starts, come in at 6 instead of 7 o'clock. A lot of salting, a lot of putting salt down for ice and stuff like that so the kids don't slip. The high school, it's a little harder because you just come in earlier, about an hour and a half earlier than the elementary. So you have more time to get caught up with the elementary than you do the high school.
Back in March, we had a week off of school. Did the maintenance staff still have to come in when the students were off?
Yes, we're still required to come in even if we get, like you said, a week worth of snow days. The only time we don't have to come in is if it's a state of emergency and the state declares it a state of emergency. You're not allowed to be on the highways, but other than that, we're mandated to be here.
What are the most important things to be done when we get snow or ice?
The first thing is primarily just getting rid of the snow, clearing that all away, and after that is setting it up with salt before it freezes. That's the main thing. The snow you can work with. The salt, or the ice rather, is a little bit harder because once it's frozen, there's not much you can do. It's a waiting game with the salt. Just put salt out and basically wait for it to melt and break up big chunks if you see them.
On average, how long does it take to clear the parking lots?
It really depends on the amount of snow. If you get 2 inches or so, you can basically do it in a few hours in the morning. Anything over that, if you get 4 to 5 inches, it usually takes almost a whole day after accumulating, after plowing it for so long. Once you plow 1 path and 2 paths, it just keeps building up. And then you have to get other equipment like the loader to get rid of it, carry it up and drop it in the woods and stuff like that. So anything over like 4 or 5 inches usually takes about a full day.
Donations for the SPCA will be accepted up until Thursday. Please continue bringing in items to Miss White. Thursday is also the Ugly Sweater Dress Down Day. Students are permitted to wear jeans or sweats with an ugly holiday sweater if they bring in a $1 donation. All money raised will benefit local animal shelters.
Students in Mr. Stone's AutoCAD courses are taking on a difficult task. They are working in groups to design and construct a boat out of cardboard and duct tape that will then be used in actual race. The finished products will each be manned by 2 students and will race in the natatorium. The event will take place next Wednesday during second period and is open to spectators.
I'm Drew Mashak within the news, down here in the Industrial Arts room with Nate Griffin. So Nate, can you tell us a little bit about this boat race coming up?
Okay, so Mr. Stone wanted us to work with the mousetrap cars again from 8th grade, but we thought making a boat would be a better idea.
And how did you use your knowledge from AutoCAD to help design and develop this boat?
Using what you know in AutoCAD really helped make the boat and make it nice and easy. Made it really easy to design it.
And when is this boat race?
Wednesday, December 20th.
All right, well, good luck.
Thank you.
Even though we're all geared up for winter sports, there's still some football to talk about. This Sunday, matchups for 39 college bowl games were released. Sports analyst Brandon Harris is making some predictions about the potential winners. He is joined by Coach Tom Tischen to discuss some of the more anticipated games.
Brandon Harris in the news here with Mr. Tom Tischen to make our bowl game predictions. So with my pick, I go with the Hurricanes because it's at their stadium. That's a big reason why I'm going with them.
I'm going to go with the Badgers. I'm a big fan of Big Ten football, and I think they're heading in the right direction.
So I'm going with LSU, mostly because I don't like Notre Dame at all. And if you don't like that, I don't care.
I don't think Mr. Brayford's going to like that too much. I'm also going with LSU. I think Notre Dame's heading in the wrong direction, and I think LSU's heading in the right direction. Yeah. I also don't like Notre Dame too much either.
So obviously I'm going with Penn State, mostly because of Saquon Barkley. I see him as the best player in the field, and I don't see Washington stopping him.
I have to agree with you, Brandon. I'm also going to go with Penn State. I think as a Penn State fan, me and Brandon are both big Penn State fans. We're a little disappointed. They had 2 losses this year, but I still think they're a really good team. I think it's going to be the last time Barkley's wearing Penn State uniform because I think he's going to go in the draft. So I think he'll be the difference in that game.
So I got the undefeated UCF Knights. I don't really know much about them, but they're undefeated, and that says a lot.
It's pretty hard to go undefeated. Their head coach just accepted the head job at Nebraska, Scott Frost. I'm going to go with Auburn in this game. I think they had a chance to get healthy there. They beat Alabama, but then they're a little banged up in the SEC championship game. But I'm going to go with Auburn in this one. I think they're getting healthy.
So in this game, it really hurts me to do it, but I gotta go with Ohio State. Even though USC didn't help Penn State last year, but Ohio State, they're a much better team and they're more experienced.
I wish both teams would lose, Brandon. But I'm also gonna go with Ohio State, personally to say as well. I think they're the better team.
So with this game, I got Stanford after their impressive performance in the Pac-12 championship and with Bryce Love in the backfield.
Yeah.
I seen them putting up a lot of points.
Tough game to pick here. I like both teams, like both coaches, like both programs. I'm going to go with TCU though. Gary Patterson's 4-2-5 defense.
So in this game, I got Baker Mayfield, the Heisman Trophy winner in Oklahoma.
I agree with you. I think it's 2 really good teams. I don't agree with some of Baker Mayfield's antics on the field, but he's a Heisman Trophy winner. I think he's going to be showcased here. Georgia's a good team too, but I think Oklahoma's going to pull it out.
In this game, I got Nick Saban, Jalen Hurts, and Alabama because they're the best team in college football in my belief, even though they're not number 1.
Yeah, 3 years in a row these teams are playing. 2 great programs. Rematch last year's championship. I agree with you, Brandon. I think Alabama's been the best team the entire season. I know they lost a tough game against Auburn. That's a rivalry game. Now we got to throw that records out in that game. I also believe, though, the winner of this game will win the national championship. I wouldn't be shocked if Clemson won, but I do think the winner of this will win the national championship. I'm going to go with Bama, and then I'm going to go with Bama winning it all then, too.
And for the national championship, I also have Alabama because of their experience in these type of games.
2 Miler shirts that were ordered online can be picked up after school today and Monday in the lower lobby between 2:45 and 4 p.m.
This week's reward system winner from junior high is Rebecca Razes from Mr. Gutko.
And for senior high, Violet Ryan from Miss Holman. You can pick up your prize in the office.
I'm Doug Weist.
And I'm Haley Bird.
Put a little sunshine in your day.